All right, folks. April 24th, 2025, XRP Market Update. How are we doing out there? In tonight's live show, we are actually going to be giving away 250 XRP. If you place an order for merch during this live show tonight, I'm going to enter you into a giveaway raffle, and we're going to give away 50 XRP to 5 folks. So 5 people are going to earn or win 50 XRP in tonight's live show. I did a giveaway last week, and basically I said anybody that orders merch during the live show, we're going to get you a dog tag. And we got the XRP family. We got the Better Bitcoin dog tags just in. A huge shout out to Tyler from the Ty Project and his work. If you guys have your own business and you want to do, business cards, you want to get the dog tags, you want to get an ARC plate to actually store the keys to your crypto on a fireproof, setup. I think what he's building now is incredible, and I'm pleased to recently added his products to our shop. But I did a giveaway last week where we basically just said, hey, if you order merch, we're going to send you a dog tag. And so we gave away about 30 dog tags. So tonight, I don't know how many people are going to order merch during tonight's live show. Could be a few, could be 20, 30, I don't know. Last time we did it, we ran it up for a couple dozen. But the odds are pretty good, right? If 1 in 20 people or so, not bad. Because I want to give away some XRP. I want to keep the vibes rolling, and we need to be celebrating right now because I got nothing but bullish headlines lined up. Nothing but bullish headlines lined up. And let's be very clear about something too. With President Trump, some folks are saying, oh, this channel has become an apologist channel for President Trump. No, the only thing I would apologize for is that we haven't been able to accomplish more. See, that's the only frustration that I have is that we're actually not farther along in adopting this distributed ledger technology. In tonight's live show, we're going to actually play a clip from Kevin O'Leary talking about the tokenization of North America, something I talked about in my Discord call a couple weeks ago about how bullish I am on both Canada, America, and Mexico, this North American Union, some want to form. I believe in independence for each country, but I believe in an economic powerhouse being established in this region right now. And I was just up in Canada today with my family. I did a little quick TikTok in the middle of Chilliwack. And the random question for you guys, I want to hear if anybody in the chat has been to the Chilliwack Bowling Alley. Random. I know it's random. But I'm curious to know if anybody's been to the Chilliwack Bowling Alley. Basically, I ate at the Flame and Fork, little old school burger restaurant, burger shack place. Flame and Fork, right next to the Chilliwack Bowling Alley, which was built in 1957. I had to go ask the owner because the restaurant that we went to with the family is tied to the bowling alley. And of course, while we're waiting for the meals to get ready, they had a little, the rides that you can put a couple quarters in, hop in there and go on the ride. And, they had the police car. They had the alien UFO ship. They had that one too. And none of them worked. So we did give, we tried our U.S. quarters. U.S. quarters weren't accepted. And I don't think that they worked either. But it was like a blast from the past. Back to 1957, I had to ask him when it was built out. And it's like nothing has changed. Even the playlist. What were they playing? Celebration? I don't know who sang that song, Celebration. But it was just a vibe, right? Back to 1957. And I was thinking about talking with wifey about how during that period in time, we were just rocking and rolling, baby. Are you kidding me? We were still on the gold standard, right? America was just building, and even Canada too, I think was, doing pretty well. And we were building. It's time to build again. Not only in America, in Canada, in Mexico. Has anybody in the chat been, Chilliwack is a bad place now? There was some characters. I find characters up there in Canada. Oh, you bet. You bet. I'm walking the family through. Oh, this is nice and cute. And then you see a character, if you know what I'm talking about. And you say, girlie, I'm going to hold your hand right real quick as we proceed through this little alley. Already see one order's in. Okay, so for those of you guys that are joining us now, we're going to be giving away 50 XRP to 5 people. To enter this giveaway, all you have to do is place an order for the XRP family merch, and I just added the XRP greenhouse and the XRP poker table. So now we have the Bearable Guy series fully loaded, and that's available for you guys. To enter this giveaway, you could order a dog tag. You order anything from our shop during this live show tonight, you're going to be entered into the giveaway, and I'm going to do 50 XRP to 5 people. That's how we're going to pay it forward tonight. Now, I appreciate everybody for tuning in here. We're just going to go through a market update here, and I'm telling you, nothing but bullish news lined up. And I wanted to also say, too, that I just got the agenda, and I don't know when Brad Kimes is going to share the agenda for XRP Las Vegas with everybody, but I just got to see it. I'd get there. I'd get there, or I'd get in and around there, because there's some big hitters coming through, and the vibes in the XRP community were great when we went to XRP Las Vegas last year, and in 2023, XRP Las Vegas has just been an incredible, the world's largest XRP meetup in the world. 2 years in a row, and we're going to do it for a third time. And a huge shout out to Brad Kimes for getting this together. But the list, I just saw the agenda. And it's an absolute honor to be able to host a couple sessions there. We're going to be helping out, host a couple sessions there. It's going to be a really good time. Yeah, some big hitters too. So, with that being said, let's get right on into the update. I just wanted to bring everybody in, warm you up tonight. I'm telling you, nothing but great vibes. The XRP daily candle's red, but the strength bouncing back to 220 today, even a little bit higher. But bouncing back above 220 for XRP after we flushed it out down to $2.11. This is real strength on display for XRP. Take a look at it. Let's start with some charts. Here you go. I drew some doofus moron lines on the chart here. Simple trend lines just showing us what we're working in. We break out of this range. And look at this back test. Perfect. Right on down to 211, 212. I was actually talking about this with my friend James Black in our Discord group yesterday. We were up here at 220, 230 yesterday in a hangout call. And he actually called this one perfectly, this back test. This liquidity gap got filled back down to 211. But this is why we watch the order books. We are so dialed in right now, expecting a little bit of a pullback, and it got eaten up. Why? There's buyers waiting. There was buyers waiting last week at 204. There was buyers waiting this week at 211. The question just is going to be, how quickly is this floor price going to rise on XRP? XRP is already inaccessible for most folks to be able to acquire a significant bag, let alone to even get any XRP, right? But you're seeing XRP floor price moving back up, this buy wall at $2, and it takes world-shattering black swan events to get XRP below $2 right now. And we immediately just get bought back up. We need to take a step back. For new people here, we're going to give you the history lesson, which is we've never been here before. XRP has never been this strong before. If you are new to XRP, please lock in, please strap in. Join us for the ride, and let me tell you, we're going somewhere really fun with XRP, because we're seeing the suits are already selling it with slideshow presentations and telling you that the XRP ledger, it will be tokenizing the world. Ripple's going to spearhead it, and Ripple's not an ordinary company. They're investment bankers. Folks, please lock in. If you're new here, if you've been here around, you know what's up. Now, I wanted to show you another one. I thought this was funny. I grew up a Packers fan, Green Bay Packers, right? I don't watch sports anymore, really. I watch maybe Super Bowl or something here and there. But when I was into it, and I used to be into it very heavy, I thought actually when I was growing up, I thought I was going to be a sports broadcaster. I thought I was going to be an analyst for sports. And here I am talking about financial markets and crypto. But anyways, Green Bay Packers fan, and I just thought that this was pretty hilarious. Clay Matthews, he was an all-star for the Pack back in the day. And I don't even know who plays for the Packers right now. But anyways, listen to this. Clay Matthews trolling the NFL draft today. Take a listen in.
Real quick, Roger, but I just got off the phone with the president, Donald Trump. He asked me to pass a message along to all 32 NFL franchises. So let me tell you what it reads here, all right? It says, my fellow Americans, the Bears still suck!
I'm sorry. Sorry. For those that aren't Americans or don't care about American football, you're probably wondering, what are we talking about? You're silly. But I thought that was pretty funny, trolling with the President Trump. And Mr. President Trump is the king troller. He is in full control of this situation right now. And here's the report. We basically have him being asked about negotiations with China, which China is denying, completely denying. And President Trump is saying that they are taking place. But I'm going to play this clip right now. And by the way, shout out to all the Packers fans in the chat. And yes, I do believe that the Bears still suck. And also the Vikings too. You know, those are the old school rivalries back in the day, right? The Bears, the Vikings. I don't even know what's going on with the Packers right now, though. They're too busy in these markets. Let's listen to President Trump. What does he have to say about the China talk?
Can you clarify with whom the U.S. is speaking with China? They're saying it's fake news that trade talks are happening.
Well, they had a meeting this morning, so I can't tell you. It doesn't matter who they is. We may reveal it later, but they had meetings this morning, and we've been meeting with China. And so I think you have, Jeff, as usual, I think you have your reporting wrong. Thank you very much. We'll see you.
Yeah, and I forgot to tee it up tonight, but I was actually going to share a clip from Judy Shelton. And she was responding to Scott Bessent calling for a new IMF, for the IMF to basically be revamped, and for a new world order, essentially, a new, monetary world order. And Judy Shelton commented, and she said, the thing about when Bretton Woods was originally agreed upon was everybody was going to have a fixed rate to the dollar, and the dollar was going to be backed by gold. That's why Bretton Woods worked. It's not complicated why over 44 nations were able to come to the table and get a deal done, right? America was going to back it by gold, and everybody else was going to trade at a fixed rate to the dollar. And when President Trump put out the list, what was the first thing? Currency manipulation. This is where XRP comes in. And not only do we have US dollar derivatives live with RLUSD and expanding, we're going to talk more about that later, but other currencies and stablecoins and even central bank digital currencies being issued on the XRP ledger. This all gets fixed. This all gets solved. But while everybody's distracted with the tariffs, I would urge everybody, specifically in America, to hone in on what's taking place in your state. Because I call it loony land. Some of these states, we're in loony land. And I'm just trying to be nice and politically correct. But there's no common sense, and the program's in failure. My question is always been, how's your program working out? In loony land, they love to move backwards when it comes to freeing up our markets, freeing up investors, and freeing up the working class to actually be able to live the American dream that we all are shooting for. And I'm specifically talking about these examples that I'm going to share with you next. This is not just me, standing up on my soapbox. This is me urging you, please. I'm asking myself right now, are we going to be able to stay in this state? For those of you guys who know, I'm in a loony land. Washington State competing with Oregon, competing with California, competing with New York. Who can be the most foolish in their policies? And I'm going to show you Washington's doing something similar, but take a look here at Oregon. While everybody's focused on the big bad orange man, Mr. Trump, what is your state passing right now? Because my state's passing a whole heck of a lot of crap. I'll tell you that right now. Now, this is the Democrats' proposal for billions in cost of living increases, 50% increase on the gas tax. And it's interesting to note, this is why you're not feeling it at the pump. When President Trump says that energy prices and gas prices are coming down, and you're saying, well, what the heck is he talking about? He's talking about in Alabama where it's below $2. Out here on the woke coast, we're still at $4, over $4 for a gallon of gas, right? Because how's that program working out? 50% increase on the gas tax in Oregon. Gas tax tied to inflation. New 3% tire tax. 60% increase in car sales tax. Next thing you know, too, they're targeting that, right? You buy an electric vehicle, you're good to go. You buy a gas guzzler, we're going to punish you there. Additional 1% on second car sales tax. God forbid you have a second car. Why don't we just outlaw that? How dare an American citizen own a second car? I think a 1% additional tax is not enough. Let's ban second cars. What do you guys say? Where are we going? What are we talking about? What are we doing? What is this intended for? And where the heck have all the tens of billions of dollars been going? This is a disaster. And it might be taking place in your state or your country or your province as well. I'm up here I just went up in there in BC today. Boy, BC, I mean, incredible. $90 increase in car title fees. $66 increase in car registration fees. 80% increase in payroll tax. 80% increase in payroll tax. Meanwhile, we do have some folks, some American patriots, like Buddy Carter, introducing the Fair Tax Act of 2025, I believe is what they called the bill. Removes income, payroll, estate, and gift. How about that plan versus increasing payroll tax by 80%? As somebody who's employing people in Washington state. Unbelievable. I mean, we just had this whole program with the family benefits, some benefits deal, which, as most of these programs have great intentions, but now I'm hearing about stories of guys that have this thing so dialed in. They show up to work once a week. Every other week they can show up twice, and then they go back on FMLA, family medical leave assistance, or whatever it's called. These all end up getting abused. That's the problem. They all end up getting abused. Try being a business owner too, right? Yeah, you can take the time off, but nobody's paying, unless you have a business that's running itself, nobody's paying your bills, right? 80% increase in payroll tax. It's absurd. 16.9% increase in the weight mile tax. New Amazon, UPS, and FedEx delivery charge. New mandate, and see, this is brand new. This didn't exist at all. And this all is more inflation in Oregon, in Washington, in California, in New York, in maybe your state too, Colorado. Where are you guys at, and what kind of stupidity is getting passed in your state? Comment down below and let me know what kind of stupidity is getting passed in your state and what we need to be fighting against. Because it's time to get together here and stand up against this nonsense. We can sit back here, armchair quarterbacking, or even worse, listening to the mainstream media, which tells us that the tariffs is the end of the world, and we could be distracted by the big bad orange man, or we could realize, wait, no, actually, it's going to be here at the state level where my taxes are going to be increasing by 20, 40, 60, 80%. New taxes are being introduced that never existed. New mandatory road usage charge. $9.50 increase in the bike tax. So even if you try to save the planet, we're still going to tax your butt. How about that one? Boy, and I was in Portland last year. You want to talk about seeing some characters? May God be with that city. Holy smokes. Wow. What are you guys seeing in your states? I'm checking the chat right now. Las Vegas, Colorado, beautiful country. I got family from there. My dad's family's from there. Durango, Colorado area. And my grandfather, he was a real cowboy. Still is a real cowboy. Beautiful state, but goodness gracious, same thing. Same, the loonies take control. Where are you at? Texas, even Texas, though. Texas has shifted so much. A lot of stupidity getting introduced there. I mean, goodness. Illinois, oh boy. Now, UK, yeah, I don't know if we can catch up with you guys. It's a competition of who can have the least amount of common sense within their state, province, country, jurisdiction. Who can have the least amount of common sense? Now, continuing on, let's get into the financial markets. Bridgewater, largest hedge fund in the world. Remember, this is Ray Dalio's hedge fund, Bridgewater. Ray Dalio, the guy that wrote Changing World Order. That book's actually behind me on my bookshelf there. I recommend everybody to read it or listen to it like I did. Great book. really will, one book that really helps you understand where we're at, what we're going through. And this is his hedge fund in their extremely influential newsletter saying, quote, "We have been through many big economic shifts over Bridgewater's 50-year history. So we don't speak lightly when we say that this looks like a once-in-a-generation one." Excuse me. And that they see exceptional risks to U.S. assets. If it took the Trump tariff trade war to see exceptional risks to U.S. assets, I think that you missed it completely. And I can tell you that you missed it by looking at the chart on these stocks that are all down 10, 20, 30%, which is a lot worse than being down 10, 20, 30% in your crypto. Because in crypto, we can bounce back quickly. Little bit of liquidity and we send. The problem with being down 10, 20, 30% on your stock is it might take years to get back to the levels that we were once at. And we might not even be close to being done, which I think is the signal that they're sending, right? Now, this is where we have to really hone in on what is it time to get bullish on. Because it's not time to be just blindly bullish on everything. That's ridiculous. That's not the position. But while everybody's getting fearful now, well, we're saying, yeah, I agree. I would be scared if I was in the indexes right now, if I was in some of these tech stocks that are bleeding, if I was in some of these other ones, that are still struggling, not only because they might be bleeding out further, but also upon the recovery, they're just not going to perform as well as our utility cryptos, honing in on ones that are based in America, and the significant gains that we've already seen since the Trump election, but also what comes forward, versus these stocks, which I think have some ways to go. Bridgewater, the largest hedge fund in the world, commenting on this. Now, this economic shift, and in particular, the financial system and the rails of this financial system are all moving to DLT technology, distributed ledger technology. And this is why I'm still so bullish. Just like I'm going to play in this clip from Kevin O'Leary, who's Canadian. He says, "We are in a new place now in business. I'm diving into the digitization of the North American economy." What did I say opening up tonight's show? Canada, America, Mexico. Once we get our deal sorted out, we're going to have a powerhouse, an economic powerhouse of production and energy and wealth in this region. We're finally opening it up. It's actually a blessing what President Trump has done for Canada, because now you guys are getting sustainable. Now you guys, we have to figure it out. We're building back stronger, like the Biden administration liked to use, right? This time around, we're actually going to build back something that's stronger, more sustainable, and even more interconnected through the DLT rails. Everybody that's listening to my voice tonight should be a part of this. One, either just investing. Maybe you're not active in business, at a job, still working, so you should just be an investor in this asset class. But if you're able to, if you can be a part of rolling us into the fourth industrial revolution at your job, within your business, and figuring out how your company can integrate Web3, DLT, call it whatever you want, into your business, this is the future, and this is the opportunity for everybody listening to my voice tonight. Listen to Kevin O'Leary's statements right here on CoinDesk.
All right, Kevin, you are going to be with us at Consensus next month, May 14th to 16th in Toronto. Give me a little preview as to what you're going to be talking about. I know you're doing a keynote, and then you have a talk called Crypto's Next Chapter.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking me about the digitization of the North American economy. And I'm bringing that to the table. I mean, there's been so much change to how business is done, including crypto creeping into it. But it's more about why is the S&P 500 margins higher than pre-pandemic? Why in private companies in North America, Canada, and the United States have margins grown from 15 to 17.5%? What happened? What happened to the economy when you would have thought the pandemic would have wiped out so many of these businesses, and it didn't happen? And so I'm going to walk through a bunch of case studies of companies, some within my own portfolio, others. These are not academic studies. These are real companies that maneuvered their way from a Nike through to a small 500 employee company through this remarkable 4-year period. And we are in a new place now. And the direct consumer market is a multi-trillion-dollar business worldwide. All kinds of strategies have emerged, and the digital payment systems are going to be a huge part of this. So I want to encompass all of that in my keynote. I mean, I've really been working hard on this one because we're in such an interesting time in terms of business and investing. And I think that's a good way to approach the conference. And I'm looking forward to it. I've always loved this one. This is such a cutting edge group of people. It's always a wonderful event.
And see, folks, he mentions how the direct-to-consumer retail market is worth trillions. What's interesting is on the wholesale side of clearing and settling, you're talking about quadrillions. And, I just mentioned commenting on North America Union, Canada, America, Mexico, but also in your jurisdiction, right? This is a worldwide phenomenon and fourth industrial revolution. The time is now. And we have this sector being completely legitimatized by the biggest banks in the world. Citigroup predicts that stablecoin supply could hit 3.7 trillion by 2030. I've been saying that XRP is on its way, RLUSD is on its way to being the largest stablecoin, surpassing Tether, surpassing USDC. The only threat that I see to Ripple not having the largest stablecoin would be a traditional player getting into the stablecoin game. I see them passing up Circle. I see them passing up Tether. The only competition that I see for Ripple would be the largest banks in the world. Now, continuing on, we got announcements here today from the Federal Reserve. As I'm saying, we're getting legitimatized by the biggest banks in the world. Federal Reserve announces the withdrawal of guidance for banks related to their crypto asset and dollar token activities related and related changes to its expectations for these activities. So they're pulling the reporting requirements. But here's the problem. They still left in one little piece of guidance that Caitlyn Long points out right here. She says, I just noticed that the Fed didn't rescind its January 27th, 2023 anti-crypto guidance, which the board voted 7-0 to approve at the time. But it appears to have rescinded all other guidance it issued without a board vote. I think this means the Fed didn't yet comply with Trump's executive order. And this is where President Trump has been calling out Jerome Powell and the Fed, and others too. It's not just President Trump calling out the Fed. I mean, we've shown over the past 4 years that I've been making content how ridiculous, hypocritical, and wrong and late the Fed has consistently been. Talk about that, inflation that was going to be transitory. Yeah, not so much. And so the Fed is currently not complying, even though they've withdrawn this guidance. And I mean, this is bullish. This is on the way. But she points out right here, this is where that stablecoin bill comes in that's going to be on President Trump's desk. By August, the Fed anti-crypto guidance is still in place, which means Fed-regulated banks are disadvantaged versus OCC or FDIC-regulated banks for stablecoins and other activities. The stablecoin bill, when it becomes law, would overturn this, but it ain't over yet. Guess who has a competitive advantage? Who's already gotten approved? That would be Ripple with their acquisition of Standard Custody and the trust license, that trust charter in New York, signed off by the New York Department of Financial Services, which is essentially the gold standard regulatory body within the states of our union. So is Ripple waiting around for, getting in this? I don't know if they are part of the Fed bank. I forget the group that they call it, where you get your Fed number. I don't know if they're part of that yet, but do they need to be? See, this is where Ripple is at a competitive advantage, not only with this, but also the fact that they have the trust company where they get to hold their own collateral. They don't have any counterparty risk for the collateral behind RLUSD. Circle does. Tether does. This is, once again, we're heading in the right direction. The Fed rescinding, and the Fed should dissolve. They shouldn't exist. We know that. That's, where I think that conversation should go. Oh, yay, the Fed's telling our banks, what to do or what not to do. How about the Fed, tells themselves to get gone and see the exit, please? Thank you very much. It's been nice knowing you. and we hope to never allow your banking cartel to have a monopoly on our monetary policy ever again. That's where this should go, but we're heading in the right direction, and it's time to drive it home. That's where we're at. Now, continuing on, DTCC wants a piece of the action. The Great Collateral Experiment demonstrated how collateral can be moved on distributed ledger technology, underscoring the capabilities of institutional decentralized finance and unlocking new efficiencies in collateral management. I find it so interesting. Ripple acquires prime broker Hidden Road, moving $3 trillion on a yearly basis, $10 billion daily. What are they using for their collateral on that platform going forward? RLUSD. What is RLUSD on? The XRP ledger. So once again, while these guys are saying, yeah, this is legit, we're running tests. Look at our nice test. This is such a, cute test that we did right here. The Great Collateral Experiment. Check this out. Ripple is already live. And now it's going to be the tune of billions daily and trillions here shortly. Trillions. Not a proof of concept, not a test, not, hey, we're thinking about doing something. It's happening, and the liquidity is flowing now to the tunes of billions daily. Remember, it took Ripple 10 years to move 70 billion total in volume through Ripple payments, which was X-Current, X-Via, X-Rapid, on-demand liquidity. Now they've merged it all, simplified it for everybody, which I really like, especially from a marketing standpoint. We have one product, Ripple payments. When it comes to moving and settling your money, we have Ripple payments. We have other products and verticals, and you guys know about custody and now their stablecoin issuance as well. But I like the simplified approach, everything Ripple payments. But you add it all up for the 10 years plus that Ripple's been around. It took them that long to move 70 billion. They've just acquired a prime broker that moves 70 billion every 7 days. It's what we call a quantum leap. While everybody else is still testing, including the DTCC, the Fed, everybody else. Oh, we're going to roll the ISO later this year. Way behind. And I'm going to show you the clip later from Circle. They made a stupid tweet today. And they're proud that they settled a transaction in 72 seconds. And they said that no network exists that's settling up like this. I was like, what are we talking about here? I'm going to show you that clip later. But the point being that everybody's getting on board. Everybody wants a piece of the action. In-N-Out Burger tweeting out today. Which cryptocurrency should In-N-Out accept? XRP family continue to max engage. You already know the deal. But it's not just XRP. It's other cryptos too, right? But XRP's in control. XRP sells well. Sells better than any other digital asset, in my opinion. Emi Yoshikawa notifying us that the largest go-to marketplace app, largest resale platform in Japan, has flipped the switch and they are now accepting XRP. I actually got to meet Emi Yoshikawa at the XRP Las Vegas conference last year, while she was the strategic initiatives vice president at Ripple. So I got to meet Emi last year. Now, the reason why I like going to XRP Vegas is it's just nothing but big hitters from Ripple and Ripple partners and other industry players. And we were able to actually connect Andy Sheckman, Lynette Zhang, going to be joining us in XRP Las Vegas again. I love this because we're combining the old world. We're combining, commodities into cryptocurrency. Nothing but big hitters and adults talking about creating generational wealth and building out this new financial system, XRP Las Vegas. Now, this is Japan, largest marketplace. We've already seen that many banks in Japan starting to onboard XRP. We're seeing the World Expos coming up there in Japan, and that's where everybody in attendance will receive XRP NFT. Guys, Japan and the APAC region is continuing to expand their on-ramps. We're seeing in Korea, they're actually delisting and deplatform over a dozen exchanges. And what's left? Well, there's a few exchanges left, and there's some of the biggest exchanges that account for some of the most, basically the most amount of volume for XRP and a significant amount of XRP's market cap. These would be Bybit and other Upbit, these big Korean exchanges that account for a massive amount of XRP's volume and market cap. And you just saw right here, we have a flip of the switch for Japan's largest resale platform. Love to see it. Love to see it. Onondo Finance team in DC today with the SEC Crypto Task Force to discuss tokenization and the future of digital asset regulation. We look forward to collaborating with regulators on shaping a thoughtful framework for digital assets. Onondo in the room. Love to see it. Now, I don't own Onondo. I'm watching the project closely, and I will update you guys further on it. I know some of you guys are already in it. I'm on the sidelines right now, but I'm watching them closely. What I love to see is that they're in the room and they've made significant partnerships with many folks in the space. Now, tomorrow, I believe, is the next SEC Crypto Task Force, or we're meeting with the SEC crap. I believe that tomorrow is the next roundtable. And so I do want to go live for that tomorrow. Make sure you guys hit the subscription if you're new here on YouTube, X, or TikTok. Make sure you guys have subscribed. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss our updates. But tomorrow I'm planning on going live for that roundtable. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that one. Now, Tether making an acquisition today, a new move. Check it out. Tether has acquired over 10% of Juventus football club's share capital, becoming a significant shareholder with 6.18% of voting rights. Now, we take a look here. This is an interesting post by 24 Hours Crypto. He says, let me get this right. Tether just went from stablecoin issuer to major European football stakeholder. They acquired over 10% of Juventus football club's share capital with 6% of the voting rights. This kind of move has placement vibes if you're viewing it from a money laundering or capital movement lens. High-profile asset acquisition like a stake in Juventus provides a legitimate front for deploying large amounts of capital. It allows Tether to convert potentially untraceable or controversial funds into equity in a well-known regulated organization. Once the money is in the system via such a move, it becomes part of a mainstream finance, cleaned in a way. Of course, this isn't confirmed money laundering case, but if you're analyzing this through the classic 3 stages of laundering, LOL. I did AML at the bank for 10 years, mandatory course yearly. Time will tell. And, all I'll add is just show us the reserves, right? Just show us the reserves. Now they have Bitcoin and gold backing Tether. That's great. The gold that's backing Tether's done really well. I mean, that's worked out pretty well for them, I would imagine, if they actually are holding the gold. But we need legitimate audits, we need regular attestations, and we need Tether to get it together, And at this point, we're looking at them delve into this. We just saw Cantor Fitzgerald, which is Howard Lutnick, our Secretary of Commerce. That's his company, which just partnered up with Jack Mallers, and I forget there's a couple other entities, part of a new fund that's basically going to be another MicroStrategy competitor, another company where you can basically get a piece of their company that's going to be operating with stacking Bitcoin and doing other business deals and creating value, according to Jack Mallers, being interviewed by CNBC yesterday wearing his Nike SB shoes, which nothing against the Nike SBs or whatever shoes he was wearing. I've just got to, noting Jack Mallers. He's an interesting character. Whoever is behind him, well done. Well done. Right? I mean, this is the Bitcoin group. This is the Bitcoin cabal pumping Bitcoin. Just so everybody understands what this is. The Jack Mallers character is not real. And if he is real, I'd be concerned. Because if one of the main spokespersons of your ecosystem is crying about another crypto like XRP, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. I mean, the guy looks like he's about to shed a tear talking about XRP. Okay? And I don't know what's going on with the guy. He's been in the same closet for like 6 years, completely empty. It's a little weird. It's like, this guy's so artificial. They created him and they said, yeah, that'll sell. Put him in a t-shirt, put him in Nike SBs, keep the closets empty, give him 3 different wardrobes. He always wears the hoodie, which that's fine. I'm wearing my t-shirt and my shorts. That's okay. Stay comfy. That's cool. But I was just cracking up listening to his CNBC interview yesterday, explaining how he was going to bring his shareholders value for this new company. I was cracking up. Now, just a quick reminder, folks, we are going to be giving away 250 XRP tonight. Okay. And what we're going to be doing is we're giving away 5 folks are going to win 50 XRP. All you have to do to enter the giveaway tonight is place an order for merch during the live show. So I've already seen some orders start to come in. I've already lost track of how many orders have come in. I don't know where we're at right now. But if you want to enter this giveaway, you're going to have fairly decent odds. I mean, you should have a decent chance. But nothing is guaranteed, of course, right? But I want to give back. I want to pay it forward. And so I'm going to give away 250 XRP. 5 folks, 50 XRP. Place an order for merch tonight during tonight's live show, and you will be entered into the giveaway. Let's proceed. If you haven't already, please make sure you like this video, and we're sharing it out. Let's get folks in. I see we got some super chats. Let me catch up on our super chats, and then we'll proceed. Thank you. God bless you all for joining us here tonight. Thank you. William Coe, thank you for the 5 spot. You're the reason my family started stacking XRP. Been stacking since 40 cents. God bless you. God bless your family. William, well done. We brought awareness. You took action, which is the biggest thing. Where you can lead a horse to water, but you got to take action, and you guys have stepped up to the plate when it wasn't easy to do so. And folks have had a lot of time to jump off the train and to give up, and a lot of people did, unfortunately. Boy, those are sad stories. But for those of you guys that stood the course, for those of you guys that just stayed in the greenhouse, tended to the garden, stayed within the castle, protected your own, continued to stack, you are being rewarded. Thank you. Crypto Clay, thank you for the 20 spot. Love you, Zach. Thank you. Thank you. Clay, I appreciate you, my friend. God bless you. God bless you. Where do we leave off here? Let me catch back up. Hey, we got White Rock. I was just talking about White Rock in the Discord call last week. I want to see more from them. Speaking of Tether, we need to see the reserves. Speaking of White Rock, we need to see the XRP wallet address. You know, we need to see proof. You're saying you got 200 million plus assets under management. Let's see it. Let's just see it. It's a simple request. Before you ask the XRP community for more XRP, let's see what we're working with. Let's see what the plan is. I'm not overly impressed by anything that I've seen from the website, from the guy behind this company. What's his name? Gnome Levi. We need to see more. I would ask that we see more before we continue with this program. But nonetheless, if this is real, I guess this guy's writing in a letter to the Federal Reserve requesting an opportunity to teach the Federal Reserve about the XRP ledger. So one thing's for certain, these folks are going to make some noise. All I'm saying is do proper due diligence before you give anybody your XRP. Please be safe out there. White Rock meeting with Federal Reserve to discuss XRP integration into the financial system. Confirms leaked report. Okay, that's wrong. Okay, Crypto Geek. Yeah, don't expect him to do better, but you know he's a usual suspect with this type of over sensationalism. We want to rein that back in and check that. We want to cut the BS. Okay, this is not a guaranteed meeting. This is a request. This is a letter. Anybody can write a letter into the Federal Reserve. I mean, we sent the Fed a buyback proposal. I mean, anybody can send them a letter. And so that's all this is. But apparently, this is Gnome Levi from White Rock Finance, requesting on behalf of White Rock to have a meeting to discuss integrating the XRP ledger technologies into the federal banking system. This presents an opportunity to enhance efficiency and security of U.S. financial services. Our approach ensures innovation while maintaining compliance with regulatory standards. So while I worry about how White Rock is operating and what they will potentially be able to actually return to XRP investors that use their platform, I will give them credit for making noise, right? And sending the Fed a letter and making some noise. We'll see about it. We'll see. Now, speaking of making some noise, this one's being talked about. Charles Hoskinson commenting on Ethereum. And I've been saying, don't take it from me tonight, though. Tonight, I'm not going to comment on Ethereum. I hope if any of our community has a bag that you can find some exit liquidity on this thing. But here's what Charles Hoskinson, which is, Charles is an ETH founder. So this would be equivalent to David Schwartz, Jed McCaleb, or Arthur Brito saying that XRP was going to die in 10 years. That's what Charles Hoskinson, one of the founders of Ethereum, just said. says Ethereum may not survive the next 10 to 15 years, citing architectural flaws, governance issues, and value leakage from layer 2s. The Cardano founder warned that without major changes, Ethereum could follow the path of tech giants like BlackBerry. So that is the update on Ethereum. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, I wanted to share this one from XRP. He is noting that there was a Sunshine Act meeting that did take place today. Obviously, we have not got a settlement announcement today, but I just wanted to remind everybody tonight that yes, the XRP SEC versus Ripple lawsuit is about to conclude. It's about to be wrapped up, and it will be over. I think we broke your website. I can't buy no merch. I'm still seeing orders go through, so I think that it is working right now. Once again, to enter the XRP giveaway, we just got a new order, so yeah, I think it's working. To enter the XRP giveaway for tonight, you're going to buy some XRP family merch from the website. You will be entered into the giveaway. I'm giving 250 XRP. 5 people are going to win 50 XRP. So your chance to win 50 XRP, all you have to do is place an order on the website. All right? Here we go. Now, continuing on, and one last point. Paul Atkins is now officially confirmed. This is the first Sunshine Act meeting that's taking place since Mark Uyeda, who was the acting SEC chair, stepped down. He's let Paul Atkins come in. And what have we been talking about on that silver platter is the SEC versus Ripple settlement that's already been prepared. Now all Paul Atkins has to do is finalize the speech, finalize the note, because he knows the precedent and how historical this is going to be. If you listen to his past comments where he spoke on this, he talked about this case potentially going to the Supreme Court because he knows how important it is. What this case did in the precedent from Judge Torres was it essentially reiterated precedent that we already have from the Supreme Court, just, basically reiterating the Howey test and how the Howey test did not apply to certain transactions that Ripple was conducting. To some transactions in investment contracts that Ripple did create, they were unregistered securities offerings. Ripple pays a little fine, little traffic violation, and then they get to go on their way. Now, SEC case about to settle up. XRP futures going live next month, May 19th, at the CME, the largest derivatives platform in the world. Okay. So what's happening here is we have more and more avenues to get on board the XRP ledger. And what Ripple stablecoin is about to do is about to open this thing wide open. See, what folks need for DeFi, which is the main thing that folks want access to, how can I earn yield on my savings? When the bank is giving me not even 0.5%, I can lock it up in a CD. I can do, the banks, while the rates have been elevated, I know my local banks, and I have a couple different banks, but both my banks, everybody was offering basically these new accounts, right? Open up this Flex account and you can earn 8% interest. You read the fine print, it's only on the first $5,000. Yeah, your first $5,000 that you put in there, you can earn 8%. After that, it's 4% or, even less, right? So they hit you with the teaser rate. Oh, these banksters. And now the banksters are in the pockets of DC urging Congress to pass a bill for stablecoins that won't allow the interest yield to be passed on down to the retail consumer, the owner of the asset. Basically trying to control what the issuers can and can't do as far as passing on yield with their stablecoin. It's absolutely ridiculous. But why did the banks have to do it? Because they need you to keep your money with them. Just like why the suits on Wall Street haven't been ready to sell these products until they had their ETF ready to sell you, until they had their leveraged ETF ready to sell you, until they had their index fund ready to sell you. Oh, you want to go 2x long XRP? Okay. You want to go ultra short XRP? Okay. You want to just a spot position? We got you covered. Now that they're ready to sell it, they're selling it harder than I ever could. The suits are hitting Fox Business. They're hitting CNBC. They're hitting Bloomberg Television. The Tia Cream CEO. Guys, I'm not making this up. I'm not hyping up XRP anymore. It's literally Wall Street suits hitting Bloomberg Television saying not just, hey, you can come invest with us. No, they're shilling XRP. They're full on shilling the XRP ledger. They're speaking so high of Ripple, acting as investment bankers. XRP ledger will tokenize the world. XRP is the coin with the most utility. They're shilling it harder than I ever could. The suits on Wall Street are going to be selling it with slideshow presentations. And I even took it one step further. I said they're going to sue for the ability to sell. You think I'm pulling that out of my you-know-what? No. Bitnomial literally sued the SEC to be able to launch their XRP futures contract. That's how badly they want to sell these products. And it's all liquidity coming in. And so I preface what I'm about to show you next, which is ROUSD being burned on the XRP ledger and moving to Ethereum. Now, a lot of people are confused about this. Oh, is ROUSD going to replace XRP? No, it's going to be complementary. It's going to be supplementary to what XRP's already got going and what the XRP ledger has. Once again, how do you get more folks and institutions on the ledger? It might be easier to do so with a US dollar derivative. And it is. Why is Citigroup now predicting over 3 trillion in stablecoins? And what year was that? By, what was that? Let me scroll back here. By 2030. A conservative estimate of 3.7 trillion by 2030. They all know it's coming. And so what Ripple had to do right here was recognize that you have institutions that are already within the ETH ecosystem and they're comfortable with Ethereum. But when you issue ROUSD on these other ledgers, at any point, you can burn it on that ledger and bring it back to the XRP, just like you can burn it on the XRP ledger and take it to ETH. Or they can mint it on XRPL, or they can just direct mint on Ethereum. But what I'm going to show you here next is 39 million in ROUSD being burned on the XRP ledger and minted on Ethereum. Now, before the full-time FUDsters jump on this narrative, oh, we told you guys, Ripple's chosen Ethereum now. Wrong. You need to bridge that liquidity back to the XRP ledger, and you need to go where the money's at. And you give them the option to bring it on over to the best source of liquidity in the world. We're going to make XRP as liquid as a G10 currency. We've remained steadfast towards our goal of making XRP a world reserve digital currency. How do you do so? You mint a stablecoin yourself on Ethereum, and you allow anybody that owns that stablecoin to burn on ETH and bring it back to the XRP ledger. And they could do the same thing with other chains as well. They've only started with XRP and the Ethereum. But where it gets better and where we help bridge it back, what's the incentive to bridge it back, you would say? Well, what we have is the best source of liquidity. That's the main reason. That's the main driver, is just the efficiency of the XRP ledger, how cheap it is, how efficient it is. But we also are now bringing all of the EVM smart contract capabilities to the XRP ledger through the EVM sidechain. And so this is where you open up and expand. You basically access and can tap into all the existing DeFi that's already on Ethereum, or any EVM smart contract can now be brought here to the EVM sidechain and use XRP as a gas token. Remember, on the EVM sidechain, XRP is used as a gas token. So what we're looking at here is 39 million in ROUSD being burned on the XRP ledger and minted on Ethereum. Many speculate on the reasons for it. Before we dive into how the UK, SBI, and institutional liquidity is behind it, we need to get a tiny educational piece in for this. Stablecoin issuers like Circle and Tether regularly do inventory transfers. These are transfers of issuer-owned stablecoins to react quick to shortages and demand spikes across supported blockchains. I strongly believe the recent ROUSD burn on the XRP ledger and minting on Ethereum is Ripple shuffling inventory, reacting to demand, coinciding with major ETH DeFi protocol listings of RLUSD. So what just happened? And we've seen this. I think I saw Aave. There was another one too. Goodness gracious, I can't remember it. But basically, as Vet's noting, you have these Ethereum DeFi protocols, which are now enabling and going live with RLUSD. This is where they can bring it on back, right? They can go do a smart contract over there, settle it up over there, but they can bring that liquidity back. Or if they want to build out liquidity for the asset, they can issue that asset on the XRP ledger. You build out a liquidity pool and AMM for that asset on the XRP ledger. This is where you can bridge back to the XRP ledger using the blueprint that Ripple laid for tokenizing your own assets, or you have Ripple do it themselves, and they're going to help many institutions issue RWAs on the XRP ledger. In particularly, inventory is sent to B2C2 Group. Mintings on Ethereum end up in their wallet. B2C2 is a UK-based crypto liquidity provider acquired by SBI Holdings in 2020. They handle institutional liquidity and OTC trading derivatives for clients. Now remember, in OTC, which was what all of on-demand liquidity was, and with Ripple payments, they've already enabled other stablecoins. At one time, Ripple was accounting for 20% of the market cap, or basically the size, the supply of Circle. 20% of Circle's size was because Ripple was moving so much USDC for their clients. Now there's another option. Now there's an option on the XRP ledger. And for anybody thinking that this takes away from XRP, that's not the case at all. These are corridors where you don't need a bridge currency. These would be domestic payments or folks that are willing to accept RLUSD. They don't need a bridge currency. But when they use RLUSD on the XRP ledger, they are burning XRP and gas. So it still is destroying XRP with every transaction. XRP remains deflationary. Folks need to understand that RLUSD is absolutely complementary to XRP. And we're just building out on-ramp after on-ramp after on-ramp, whether it be ETFs, whether it be index funds that are including XRP, whether it be futures contracts, which have now gone live, whether it be Ripple onboarding more clients, RLUSD integration, right? All these other blockchains which are now looking at the XRP ledger and how to integrate with us. I was talking to the CEO of Constellation Network, DAG. He thinks that it's ripe for a partnership, some sort of integration between DAG and the XRP ledger, and I agree, right? XRP ledger for liquidity, and you use these other blockchains, and we've talked about this model, this hub and spoke model, where the XRP ledger is the main source of liquidity, all these other smart contracts built around it, and these smart contract platforms, which allow the XRP ledger to have maximum throughput, efficiency, and costly transactions, deep, open, public pools of liquidity, while contracts can be written in EVM or others, Zahao, Hooks, Flare. And notice how everybody wants to do business with the XRP community. Everybody wants to own XRP. The suits want to sell you an XRP product. You have the suits showing up to give you XRP DeFi products, which are actually centralized products. So they come up with new terms like XRP C DeFi. What the hell is that? XRP centralized, decentralized finance? What are we talking about here? Come on. And so the beautiful thing here is this DeFi is about to explode within the XRP Ledger ecosystem this year. We just have a final last couple amendments that are on the way that essentially are going to give us full programmability. But then in addition, we have all these bridges that are being built out by Axelar and then the EVM sidechain along with Flare and others, which complete this whole process. Corium, Evernode, everybody wants to work. DAG, Constellation Network, everybody wants to work with the XRP Ledger. Now, this is just ridiculous, and you got to laugh. But this is what we've been up against, right? This type of silliness. This is from Circle. It says, quote, "There's no cross-border real-time payment system yet." What? What? Let me read this again. This is the VP of product at Circle, Sunil Sharma. Somebody needs to tell this guy about the XRP ledger. They really think that they accomplished something here. Quote, there's no cross-border real-time payment system yet. In test mode, we moved USD to BRL in just 72 seconds, end to end. Let that sink in. What? I retweeted it and I said, who's going to tell them? And they know. They know. They're doing exactly what they intended to do. They intended to get this reaction from me. I know what they're looking for. And that's why I just laugh now. I just laugh. The best form of imitation is flattery. Flattery is imitation. However the saying goes, right? You know what I'm saying? Right? Everybody trying to keep up with Ripple. And if they can't keep up and they admit defeat, well, then they just try to join and get on board and build a bridge. That's where we're at. Circle. Nobody has a cross-border real-time payment system. The XRP ledger's been live for 10 plus years. Ripple payments has been ongoing with 70 billion in volume so far. What are you talking about? It's crazy. And what's funny to me is that these companies, I love a nice spicy tweet. I love getting edgy with it. I get that. Whatever intern, they think of something slick. Okay, I get it. I live, breathe marketing. I'm in the game too. I get it. These don't hit though because it's just ridiculous, right? Everybody loves a spicy tweet, but what the hell is this? Pay some respect, please, because you just look silly. You just look silly saying this, right? You got a king over here, Brad Garlinghouse with Ripple. Nobody's coming close. Now we're playing catch up on the stablecoin game, but we're rapidly approaching. We've already surpassed the speed at which RLUSD is growing is faster than Circle and Tether. Might even be faster than both of them combined. And these guys are acting like we don't exist. Pay some respects. And I think it's a fatal mistake that Circle never issued USDC on the XRP ledger. What a monumental mistake. Now, they would argue that we don't have much volume. Okay, well, that's no longer the case. I mean, still, compared to Solana, compared to other ecosystems, our volume is low. But it is growing quickly. And Ripple's talking about onboarding trillions of liquidity to the XRP ledger. Not just talking about it, actually, like Circle doing their little test. 72 seconds, let that sink in. Let 3 trillion on a yearly basis sink in. Let 10 billion on a daily basis sink in. You know what I'm saying? Let trillions on a yearly basis sink in. Circle kind of cute over here. I don't know what their current market cap is right now on USDC. But these guys, this is what we've been up against. No surprise. Now we just laugh. And now we just run the clip of Cassie Craddock here from Ripple talking about what they've been building out, which is not just a real-time payments, not just a real-time payment system for cross-border, but custody, but stablecoin issuance, and the blueprint for tokenizing real-world assets on the XRP ledger. A huge shout out to Verson, Black Swan Capitalist, for sharing this one. While banks stay quiet on Ripple, or in the case of Circle, act like we don't exist, Ripple keeps building because this is a real game changer. The silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Hype coins are noise, XRP is the shift. We told you back in 2022. Shoot, yeah, we've been talking about this one for years, huh? I started in 2021. Some of the OGs in our community, God bless them, the OGs, all the way back 2018 and before, got us in. I got saved by a few guys. You guys know who I'm talking about. You know who saved me back in 2018 when I was all in Bitcoin. Whoopsies. What's this XRP thing? Oh, okay. Shout out to the OGs who paved the way. Every major central bank will use Ripple to move value with XRP. Let's run the clip. Cassie Craddock from Ripple.
I've been at Ripple for 8 years now, so it's been quite the journey from, convincing banks to partner on a network to send cross-border payments, right through to being able to provide.
Stop the clip right there. Let's run this back. There's no cross-border real-time payment system yet. Let's run the clip back.
So it's been quite the journey from, convincing banks to partner on a network to send cross-border payments, right through to being able to provide banks and financial institutions end-to-end digital asset infrastructure through payments, through custody, through stablecoin, and through tokenization use cases that we're going to talk about today. I think what's really been interesting from a Ripple perspective, I'm responsible for Europe, and I think what we've seen over the last year, 18 months, 2 years or so is MiCA has really given banks and financial institutions this level of certainty to be able to lean into the blockchain and digital asset space. And so we've seen some really great innovative use cases on the back of that. So, we partnered with SocGen Forge, one of the leading banks here in France. I've been at Ripple for 8.
And there you have it, folks. So, some of these guys are talking about it, the DTC talking about their test, their great experiment. It's all very cute, but with all due respect, what the DTCC does is not just cute, it's quadrillions on a yearly basis. And what Ripple is doing, despite Circle acting like we don't exist, is they've now proven the XRP ledger can handle tens of billions of payment volume so far, but they're about to bring billions on a daily basis, and they're about to bring trillions to the XRP ledger. No longer talking about it, not just an experiment, not just speculation, not just XRP Moonboy, live, now, with proven attestations, setting a standard, the only stablecoin that's over-collateralized, the only stablecoin issuer that doesn't have counterparty risk. There's a big difference in this space. Now, I've seen a question here on TikTok, and I want to open up the chat for Q&A. So let's run into Q&A right now. I appreciate everybody for stopping by tonight. We're finished with our main update. We're going to roll right on into Q&A, and stay tuned here because we got the giveaway. You have an opportunity while tonight's show is live. If you buy XRP Family merch on the website, you will be entered into an XRP giveaway. We're going to give 5 folks 50 XRP. Okay, 5 folks, 50 XRP. I'm giving away 250 XRP total tonight. Okay? Now, somebody on TikTok asked me about the dark pools or private ledgers. There are no such thing as dark pools. There is private ledgers. I don't know who's calling them dark pools. Somebody on TikTok must have made a TikTok about dark pools. Maybe this is the new thing that the full-time fudsters have come up with. We know that the fudsters have been trying to say that the private ledger is going to have a higher price XRP, and you guys on the retail open public ledger are going to get screwed. It's not the case. We have the clip from David Schwartz himself saying that there's not 2 prices of XRP. The private ledgers exist as a messaging layer. That's all they are. If they did want to do settlement too, they could, but they always have the access and interoperability to basically, as David Schwartz described, hit that big red button, and the walled garden protecting that ledger, that private ledger, we open back up to the mainnet public ledger and can tap into that liquidity at any time. So basically, if Ripple wanted to partner up with the US government and the Treasury, they could build out a private ledger for our Treasury. All it does is conduct messaging, and then settlement happens on the XRP ledger. There are no 2 prices of XRP. There are no such thing as dark pools. Okay? Just so we're clear. Let's catch up on our super chats. I see we got a few that came in here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Petro Pro, thank you for the 5 spot. What up, Zach? What up, XRP family? Any news about the Oregon attorney Joker USA is back? Nah, man, that guy's evil. I took one look into his eyes and I said, yep. That guy's evil. That guy's working against us. You could see it. And we're going to defeat him in the courts, and we're going to be covering that case. There's no new news on it right now, but I will probably do a full update when it proceeds a little bit further along. I'll do an update on it. It's not a threat to XRP in any serious way. The only thing that's a threat to is Oregon residents, just like the taxes that I showed you earlier that are about to get passed in Oregon. So I don't know where Oregon residents might relocate, but strategic relocation is something that everybody might need to consider at this point, depending depending on how ridiculous your state or jurisdiction might be getting right now. Yeah. Okay, Dennis, thank you for the 5 spot. Cardone was trolling XRP today because Bitcoin was up. I answered, I'm up 500% in XRP, do better. I saw that Gary was making some noise, and that's the thing, is these guys think they're being cute. There's nothing cute about you made 50% and we made 500%. It's just numbers. So I don't know where these guys think it's appropriate to troll. I don't see where it's appropriate for Circle to troll Ripple. That's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Gary, huge mistake selling off his XRP or whatever he said he did. Massive mistake. Hanging out in the same, well, I'm going to keep my comments PG. The same circle, you know what, of Bitcoin bros that are just trying to peddle the scheme, push the Ponzi scheme further. There's no progress or utility being built in a significant way. So far behind. I saw we just got an order on TikTok Shop too, so I'll include orders on TikTok Shop and orders on the website. Anybody who orders tonight while the live stream is rolling, it'll cut off hard right as the live show ends. I will cut off this. And if you want to get into the giveaway while we're live here tonight, you order XRP family merch, and we're going to be giving away 5 folks get 50 XRP. This is why I created that public wallet. I shared that out on Twitter, and I've posted it in the description of the video. And it's a way for folks, if you want to, if you want to tip me, you can send me XRP tips to this wallet. And I've also had folks send me NFTs as well. So if you want to get exposure for your NFTs, you can send them here as well. And I got some ideas that I'm cooking up on what I can do with these NFTs, and we might have something interesting down the road in that regard. But for tonight, I want to pay it forward, and so I'm going to be paying folks out of this wallet. Somebody had gifted me 300 XRP. So I figured we start tonight here. We're going to do 250. And we're going to pay it forward. So 5 folks, 5 winners tonight's giveaway will receive 50 XRP. Okay? Now, catch up on Super Chats. Here we go. Appreciate you, Dennis. William, thank you again. 5 spot. Just bought a Coinbase futures contract supporting the cause when XRP moons. Will make a nice little profit from 2.55x leverage. I was about to go long too, but I was worried about the move we got today. That's what I was worried about, is that pullback. I knew we might have gotten a little overextended with that pump to 230. So that pullback, down to 211 today, that's what I was worried about. But now, now getting back in on that thing, going long. Well, and that's the thing about that contract, is you can go long or short. So if you do want to hedge against your XRP, you could. To me, I think it's blasphemy to go short XRP. Something about it feels wrong. Every time I've tried to go long or short XRP, I get myself in trouble because it moves so quick. But yeah, the XRP futures contract on Coinbase, I'm looking at it right now, and I'm probably going to use it. I'm waiting for them to go live with the perpetual futures. I just don't like the idea of, I'm scared to do VPN into some exchange that's based out of some jurisdiction that I'm far away from. Yeah, because if you want to move with any significant capital, right? I mean, if you're going to go onto a non-KYC exchange and trade $20, okay, who cares, right? You trade, a couple $100, not a big deal if you get locked out. But if you want to move with any considerable size, it's not safe on these exchanges. I don't feel safe on them. I'm talking about non-KYC or VPNing into one of, I don't like that. And so I'm waiting for a perpetual futures options to open up for me, because I'd love to get back into using futures as a hedge. The most successful program that I've done has been shorting Bitcoin. When the market gets overextended, I go short Bitcoin. And if the market goes long, well, I make a ridiculous amount on XRP, so it's not a big deal if we lose out on our Bitcoin short. That was my hedge. But, something to consider. I appreciate you, William, for supporting the cause. Yep. Dennis, thank you for the 2 spot. Devs like Vet are why I am only buying XRP right now. Yeah, he's a class act. He's going to be in Vegas too, by the way. Yeah. what they've done with Cafe. They're a great example of an investment with Ripple. For those who don't know, they did receive grant funding from Ripple, XRP Cafe, one of the best NFT platforms that we have. And what they've done is take that grant funding, build out great products. They built out the NFT platform Cafe. They built out the trading platform First Ledger. And now they're building out a wallet called the Joey wallet, which will be kind of similar to Zaman. Basically the same thing, a self-custodial wallet for the XRP ledger, full integration of the XRPL. And so they've taken grant money from Ripple, but the reason why I'm mentioning this is because they've built out businesses and products and services for the XRP ledger community that people are happy to pay for, people are thrilled to use, that have been incredibly positive for the XRP ledger and the amount of activity. But they've created a business that's self-sustainable, which is what we want. We want these Ripple grants or projects that don't even have to use Ripple grants. We can just build from the ground up. And that's what's happening, and why I'm saying XRP is going to explode on the DeFi is going to explode on the XRP ledger this year, is because we're giving our builders more than just a hammer. XRP ledger didn't have DeFi. We didn't have any programmability. You could send a fast, cheap, and efficient payment. That was your hammer. All we could do was just hammer, and we had the best hammer. You could send it fast, cheap, and quick. We had a dang good hammer. But now we're giving our builders some other tools, and now our DeFi explodes with full clarity that XRP in and of itself is not a security. We got the full green light. Dennis says DTCC will be settled by XRP mainly 4 quadrillion a year. Yep, per Claver. Yeah, DTCC. Yep, absolutely. Why am I missing a chat there from Legend? There it is, Legend. Big 50 spot from Legend. God bless you, brother. Did you buy the dip on ZBCN the other night? No, I'm regretting it. I'm regretting it big time. If so, I bet you got it cheaper than I did at 0.000781. Wish I was on the West Coast because I could have gotten it a lot cheaper. When's your deep dive? Have a good one. It's tomorrow. Legend, God bless you, brother. Thank you for the 50. That's a big one. Tomorrow, Zebek Network Deep Dive's dropping tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to air it to run tomorrow evening. So I'm going to record it during the day. We'll prepare it all up, and then we'll set it to run tomorrow evening. Okay? Make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss our updates. Zebek Network, yeah, it's coming tomorrow, and I'm already regretting it. Let's go to the charts right now while we take some more Q&A. We're caught up on Super Chats, so let me go rapid fire with it. Oh, actually, real quick, here's Zebek, which had a great bounce on Zebek. Yeah, this thing got beat up. Big sell-off, some FUD hit, which was kind of ridiculous, and it involved White Rock Financial, funny enough. White Rock getting themselves in some interesting, troublesome waters there. But basically a little bit of FUD, a little bit of a sell-off, all the way back down here to 0.0007, and then it bounces back up and loses a zero, drops a zero. A little bit of a sell-off here today, and now we've started the new day. This is your Friday, April 25th candle that we're looking at right here, and we're back right back down to basically where I bought in. When I first mentioned Zebek, I told you guys when I bought in, and it was right at about this level, I believe, 0.00091. Yeah, it was right in this range, I believe. So we're back to break even, and if we do come back down, I'm preparing. In fact, I might buy some tomorrow. I mean, not financial advice, and what I do is what I do. I'm not here to pump this coin up. I'm not talking about it tomorrow because I'm going to buy more and try to pump it up and dump it. That's not what I'm doing. This thing's going to rip a lot higher, in my opinion. Might still take some time, but they have real utility, built in America. It checks off all of the boxes, enough for me to make an investment. Is it the project that I'm the most excited about? No. Not even close. But it's real, and the upside opportunity that I see on this one's big. I'll zoom out on my chart and show you real quick on Zebek what I'm looking at. what I'm looking at on Zebek here is big. Yeah, it's big. What's interesting is it traded back to this level that it went back down to in August 24. So we've now confirmed. I mean, that was a great flush out. A great flush out on Zebek. I've drawn fib extensions from this all-time high down to this low. And then from the most recent high back in February, little Trump pump, and then back down to this most recent low. And I've had to adjust this because we just went and set a new low. This fib was up here at 0.0008. But since we just cleared out this, I had to pull my fib down. So on the retracement up here, though, I mean, it's clear to me that we could see something very interesting. Because we just go back to the previous all-time high, you're up, what are we at right here? If you bought today, you're up 267%. And that's what I was looking at on this one is, wow, if it just goes back to its previous all-time high, you're up 270, 300%, not bad. If we go back up to the 2618 or the 3618 retracement, these fib levels take you up 400 and 500%, 600%. If we go for the big shot, 800-900%, 10 bagger, I'm not going to guarantee anything or give you financial advice. I'm not telling anybody to buy this coin. I'm just seeing on my chart that with not even doing anything incredible, this thing could absolutely move. The only thing that I've seen on this coin so far that slightly concerned me was the tokenomics. They're releasing a lot of tokens. But from my understanding, and I'm going to talk about this in my deep dive tomorrow, a lot of those are getting locked up. But tune back in tomorrow because I'm going to do a full deep dive focused on Zebek Network, why I bought it a couple weeks ago, why I'm still bullish on it despite the fact that it went down. In fact, I like to see that flush out. That was good. I wish I had bought the dip. I wasn't really interested in deploying capital, but I should have. Now, I wanted to show you guys this one too, because this was also very, wow. Look at the fluctuation. Now, I was going to show you this based off the action yesterday, because yesterday on the futures contract on Coinbase, there was a pretty big premium on this futures contract for XRP yesterday. Take a look at this one, folks. This is the Nano XRP Futures April 2025, and this contract expires tomorrow. But this chart right here shows you this is the Coinbase Futures contract. Okay? You can see it just started on Monday. But yesterday, XRP went all the way up to 235 on this chart. Now, if you go to XRP on Coinbase, okay, this is Bitstamp. You can see on Bitstamp, it only went up to 229, almost 230. And then if you look on Qcoin, it went up to 230. And where is my Coinbase chart? It went up to 230 on Coinbase too. So in the Coinbase spot market, XRP versus US dollar, it went up to 230. On this futures contract, it went up to 235. And then I hadn't checked this today, but today it went all the way down to $1.95. This is a massive arbitrage opportunity. And this is why I said I'm looking at this contract. It's paper trading. There's no XRP backing this contract. So let's just be clear about that. They're not going to pay you in XRP. They're going to pay you in US dollar funny fiat money. But if you're trying to stack some more dollars like I am, I'm going to be looking at this one. I'm going to be looking closely. Because, I mean, just that. You could have bought this contract while it traded all the way down at $1.95. And then you could be, right now it's back to 219. Where's XRP at on the other charts? It's at 217 on Qcoin. So we're coming down on Qcoin. We're coming down right now as I record this update. Bitstamp at 217. So right now you actually have a premium on the futures, just like you did yesterday when it went all the way up to 235. This is something to watch right here, guys. This is something to watch. I'm not telling you to be a degen. Zach reminds me of the guy from the GameStop story. In a lot of ways, it does feel the same. In a lot of ways, it does feel the same. The only difference is I'm not going anywhere. After XRP does its moonshot, you guys want to talk about high prices of XRP, by the way? Should we do that? I feel like I haven't talked about high prices yet. Maybe I should mention a $589 XRP. Should we get crazy? Should we talk about aliens and 589 XRP? We're going to give 50 XRP away to 5 folks. We are going to do that. Yeah. We are going to do that one. Let's go rapid fire Q&A. Let's go rapid fire. I'm watching your chat right now. TikTok too, thank you. XDC could go to thousands. Ooh, you'd have to see big inflows. Yeah, XDC. I got to look at the market cap multiplier on XDC. I got to take a look at that one. XRP going to $100 to $1,000 in 2025. Been in since 21. Zach, I'll hold until it pays or dies. I have to say, I hate XRP. Been such a ride. I'm so burned out. Hey, Robbie. Hey, cheers, man. Cheers, man. You're still here. You haven't given up yet. It's okay to be frustrated. This is what we tell our young one. She tells me, too. Daddy, it's okay to be frustrated. It's not okay to be mean. That's what we say. It's okay to be frustrated. It's not okay to be mean. It's okay to be frustrated with XRP. But God forbid you actually give up the bag. You know, I'm not here to give anybody financial advice. I'm not going to tell you to buy or sell, but goodness gracious. It's okay to be frustrated, but don't give it up. When is the giveaway? So it'll be a hard cutoff. I'm going to collect everybody's information from tonight's live show. To enter the giveaway, you just buy some XRP family merch tonight. And I'll report back tomorrow with the winners. And you'll receive an email. And we'll set it up and make sure you're good to go. You know, if you need to set up a new wallet to receive the XRP, we'll set it up. We'll help you set it up. If you just want to send us your wallet address and boom, boom. You know, I know this isn't something that some people aren't used to actually sending, transactions across the ledger. But we'll make sure it gets done properly. Yeah, 50 XRP to 5 folks. To enter the giveaway, you just buy XRP family merch while we're streaming. I got a little bit left in my adult beverage. We got quite a bit left. Got quite a bit left. I get so busy talking that I just rock and roll. Got my hat and XRP necklace. Yeah, I'm going to have to get some more inventory in on these tags because these have been a fan favorite. XRP family, the better Bitcoin. And I just got sent some stuff from Tyler. He's got some a new machine that he's working with. $10 by mid-May. Heard it here first. Yeah, I think that we struggled to break $10 on the first move. To me, I take it one step at a time. But before we talk about getting too crazy, which is it crazy to talk about XRP is at $100? I don't even think it's crazy. I think it's okay to do so. We got the Twitter police that want to stop us from having conversations about this. I don't think it's crazy. In fact, the number one thing, we've done all of this connections. We've connected all these dots and these partnerships and adoptions. So, if we get a chunk of this, that's great. We do the math. We get a chunk of this. We do an assumption, new equation. That's great. The number one equation and piece of evidence that I have that showcases how easy it is for XRP to go to these high prices has been the multiplier. When I'm looking at multipliers of 400 and 500 and 600 and 900x, and on a regular basis, looking at a multiplier of, 100 to 200x, like the average multiplier that I've been tracking is over 100. So just easily, I can easily say that the multiplier that I've been tracking on XRP market cap is over 100. If you're new here and don't know what I'm talking about, type into your search bar, XRP market cap myth exposed. My video will show up. It's a whiteboard video. We run you through it. Simple math, simple assumptions with real data, hard data. And that for me was the proof that I needed to say, oh, wow, it is really easy for us to go to these prices. Because we knew that the market cap bros, as we call them, were missing something in their analysis. It was saying, we know it's not a direct correlation. For XRP to go to a $50 trillion market cap, it doesn't need 50 million of inflows. But now we've found the data to prove it. Now we have the equation dialed in. And I'm not a math genius, but you don't need to be a math genius. It's a simple one. It's a very simple equation. Your multiplier drives Johnny Crypto nuts. Well, they need to get me back on Good Morning Crypto so I can explain it to him. We can explain it to Johnny. We got to get Johnny caught up to speed. A huge shout out to Johnny, Abs, the whole team there at Good Morning Crypto, Coach JV. God bless them all. What creates the multiplier? The multiplier comes from the rapid pace of the liquidity coming in or out. The velocity of the inflows or outflows. When folks want to buy into XRP, they're willing to buy that next high price. I mean, it's just, you get a buyer at this price at, $3, and then we move on up, and there's nothing stopping other than the limitation of running out of buyers. As long as buyers are willing to come in at these prices, we will go to that price because one person will pay that price for a $3, $4, $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, $589 XRP. If somebody's willing to pay that price, we go to that market cap. So when you're looking at the market cap and evaluating, wow, XRP's gone from 30 billion, 40 billion, 50 billion, 100 billion to nearly 200 billion. When we were back at $3.40, XRP's market cap was at about 195 billion. And the market cap bros were already struggling with that one. It makes no sense that the XRP market cap is nearly 200 billion. How could this be? Well, you guys haven't been paying attention to our ecosystem, the real adoption, the fact that this case is over, we have full clarity, and we've already got a bunch of banks and institutions coming in, and now we got a DeFi ecosystem set to explode, all sorts of capital and liquidity investment coming into our ecosystem. This party's just getting started. Will there be a supply shock soon? Supply shock, I believe, comes later. I think that short term, what we're looking at is just the markets rallying on the assumption that the Fed is going to cut rates, rallying on the assumption that we're going to return to QE, or rallying on the fact that we probably are going to cut rates and are going to return to QE in one form or another. And so that's the short-term outlook that I have between now and basically July is a rally. I thought that XRP was going to be at an all-time high by March and April. That didn't happen. The tariffs that hit were a lot worse than anticipated. Basically, nobody was expecting the tariffs to hit as hard as they did. That was a black swan event that caught everybody off guard. But we've had time to digest that. That's why I say that we've bottomed out. We've already hit our floor price, and now we're establishing new higher floors. And I think that the trajectory is up from here. Does that stop pullbacks like we saw this morning in the middle of the night when XRP went back to 211? No, that's what we expected. It was at $1.60 2 weeks ago, pumps and stretches all the way up to 230, little pullback to 211, and then it bounces right back above 220. And what folks see, this is very important to understand, on the daily chart, our candle's red, but we were red by a very small margin because we closed off yesterday. I'll show you on my XRP chart right here. We closed off yesterday at about 222, I believe. Right at about 227. Right? Let me zoom in. We closed off the day right at this is today. We closed off today, Thursday, April 24th at 220. And yesterday we closed off at 221. So yesterday we closed at 221.6. Today we closed at 220. The daily candle is red, but we held 220. And we bounced back after going all the way down to 211. That's a sign of strength. That's a massive sign of strength. This was the final flush out. Triple tap, triple tap. We thought we were good to go. We thought we were off to the races. We went back up to 260. But the Liberation Day came in, and the Liberation Day was worse than anticipated, down to $1.60. I thought that this was the low. I was wrong. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. And it's okay to be wrong, because what was I wrong about? You know, how great of a price you were going to be able to get on your XRP one last time. And it didn't last long. Only a few days under $2, and then here we are back above 220. I know you want to see $3. I know you want to see $5. I know you want to see $100 in all-time high now. I get it. It's coming in short order. And I've already shown you the inflows to get us to a $4 XRP is nothing. We added 80 cents in a couple hours after Trump tweeted about XRP being in the reserve. It's not going to take much to send this thing. And we're looking at the SEC versus Ripple case being over. Thoughts on the ACS token? Are you talking about Ascension? Just saw another order come in. Make sure you guys get your order in if you want to enter the XRP giveaway tonight. We're giving away 250 XRP. Sorry. I was about to say 2,000 XRP. We're giving away 250 XRP total. 50 XRP to 5 lucky winners. To enter the giveaway, you're going to place an order while we're live tonight. As soon as this live shuts off, the giveaway orders accepted after that will not be included. Okay? The case is still not over. Yeah, we're waiting for the official headline to come out. We're waiting for the court to cross the T's and dot the I's, finish off the court proceedings. This case is over. We're just waiting for the official announcement, but it is done. Thoughts on Zebek? Yeah, I'm bullish, and I'm going to do my deep dive tomorrow. Shannon says, tariffs are making my business difficult. Yes, I understand that. Yeah, Shannon, and that's the thing. We're looking at some industries which are getting hit hard. I'm getting reports on the trucking, how much trucking slowed down, especially on the West Coast ports, in particular, down in California. We're getting reports that we're at levels that we typically see during Thanksgiving and Christmas Day, which are the lowest levels typically every year. I saw the stats of the amount of docking requests for cargo ships. I forget which port it was down in LA, but they're way down. I basically have already almost been cut in half in just a few months. From where we were at a couple months ago to where we're at right now, we've basically cut in half the amount of ships that are looking to port. So yeah, Shannon, I feel for you because I know your line of work and what you're involved in. Yeah, I feel for folks. This is a massive disruption, and I feel for the folks that are getting caught up in the collateral damage. The thing that I'm excited to see, though, is the deal that gets structured between Canada, Mexico, and America. I think that we come back stronger than ever before. At least that's my hope. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be flush with wealth. On my way up to Chilliwack, you drive through that lower mainland, all that farmland. Today, I didn't go up into the city, not up into Vancouver. We headed off into Chilliwack. We wanted to get out, venture out that way and see what was happening. And that farmland, basically between, Langley over to Abbotsford, over to Chilliwack. And then I know that there's a lot of beautiful land up in Canada, but just what I got to go see today, that beautiful farmland and the amount of energy and industry that should just be thriving and booming up there. I think that once the deal gets done here between us, we're going to have an economic powerhouse. I do. CAXRP, thank you for the 2 spot. Appreciate the insight and content. Thanks always. Thank you. Dennis, thank you for the 5 spot. Multiplier is derived by price times volume of transactions times speed or velocity equals supercharging last price, a snapshot in time, irrespective of total value lock. Exactly. Yeah, and a derivative of that velocity and the inflows from it. Yeah. And once I saw that, I said, wow, so it's not going to take 50 trillion of inflows to get XRP to a market cap of 50 trillion. XRP can surpass the market caps of some of these stocks with ease because this is a different type of asset. This is a currency for a network. And because it's not as liquid as the stock market right now too, it moves even more dramatically. Thoughts on H-bar? I'm very bullish on H-bar. Yeah, very bullish on H-bar. You rock, Zach. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys go to my website, just hit the shop tab. That's where you place orders for the XRP family merch. So if you're looking to buy the XRP family merch and enter tonight's giveaway, have your chance at 50 XRP. Come on in and order. And we're only going to let you order once, at least under the same name. So if you wanted to enter multiple times, I guess you could place an order with your wife's name and her card, but we'll only count one order per name. And we're going to do 250 XRP. 5 folks are going to win 50 XRP. I'm really excited about this because that's why I created that wallet. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to do giveaways. So I'm excited to start the process. Yeah, we did the giveaways with the dog tags last week. That was a lot of fun. This week, we're going to do giveaway with the XRP. And, 50 XRP times 10,000. 50 XRP times 10,000 per XRP times 1,000 per XRP times 589 per XRP. This one might hurt later. It ain't going to hurt one bit, though, because I know it's staying in the XRP family. That's what it's all about. Hugo tomorrow. Is Hugo speaking tomorrow? What's Hugo doing? Zebek Deep Dives tomorrow. Zebek Deep Dive is going to air tomorrow evening. I'll probably run it to air at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll record it during the day, and then we'll run it at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. It'll premiere. Love Harrison Lake, Fraser River Valley. Been camping up there. Yeah. I went to Cultus Lake last year. That looked nice. Cultus Lake. Beautiful. Beautiful. Zach, when will you have more color hats on your website? So, yes, we're in the process of adding those right now. We should have some more hats actually on the website in the next day or two, but we have a lot more to add. We're just getting started. We have a lot more on the way. But yeah, thanks for reminding me. We're going to get that added right away. Some additional hats. Yeah. Nothing makes me happier than seeing Bloomberg address the XRP cult on recorded television. These clips will be so fun to watch post 2030. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you guys haven't already, yes, please like the stream. Oh, and by the way, too, we just added the Decent wallet as one of our additional community resources or wallets for storing your crypto. We've had nothing but great things back on the Decent wallet, and so I just added them in the description of this YouTube. Should be down there and available for you guys on the website as well in the community resources tab. Yeah, the Decent wallet. I like you maximizing your channel with merch. Why the F not? Yeah, Dennis. So the thing about it for me is being self-sustainable, not having to show you something, not having to rely on sponsors that might try to control what I say. But I like to be in control of my business. I like to be in control of my investments as much as possible. And so for me, I like to stay independently funded by you guys. So, I mean, it's very simple how I make my money, right? I put out good content for free on YouTube, make ad revenue from YouTube. I have my private community where we give additional content, exclusive content. We give folks additional resources there and additional help. So folks pay for that. And then we do the merch, right? And we want to just basically raise awareness for the XRP family. And so, yeah, I'm glad that we added the XRP merch. It's a way for us to, stay independent, stay true to you guys. We always plan on doing that. Even if we do end up adding sponsors down the road, I'm not going to be shilling you tokens. And a lot of folks get caught up in some shady stuff, shilling stuff that they shouldn't be because they need the money coming in. And so that's why I like doing it my way. I control my business. I control what I want to include as a community resource. If I find that we have bad actors, we don't want to do business with somebody, we just pull the link. We say, it's all good. But I'm never, my hands are never tied and my mouth can't be shut. So that's why, that's where I'm at with it. Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for the 5 spot. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Vegas will never be the same after the XRP family takeover. Yeah. Can't wait to get the dog tags. They look sick. Yeah. He likes to take your money with crap. Yeah, well, it's not for everybody. That's the thing about every single part of my business is you got a willing buyer on the other side. You got somebody who wants to watch my content, and I'm sorry. I know on these live shows, there's a lot of ads. I don't even have it set on heavy. I just got it set on the average ads. My apologies. I pay for YouTube Premium just because I listen to so much YouTube. For me, and they jacked up YouTube too. They need to include that in the CPI lie. The cost of the YouTube Premium membership, I swear it was like 10, then it went to 12. I don't know what it is right now. But that's another example, right? To me, if I can get paid by providing folks content and resources that are going to help them in their life, that's a great business model, right? That's a great way to make money and make a living. So I appreciate everybody that does support us. Thank you. Yeah, May's going to be a busy one. XRP Vegas. Yep. So Link2 was a scam. Logan, we're still waiting to get the full report on Link2. They are going to be at XRP Las Vegas, the new CEO. And so I'm looking forward to hearing from them at Vegas. The fact that they're willing to show up at Vegas tells me that they, feel pretty good about, the new trajectory. Obviously, they did have some issues. Looks like everybody's assets are still secure. And everybody that bought a lot of this equity, I mean, especially Ripple equity. I was even thinking of Circle too. I was thinking that Circle, despite them and their silly comments tonight, is a good way to hedge against Ripple and XRP, right? We know that Circle is the main player. They're doing things the right way, and they're still going to be around. And so the Circle IPO too, that's another good one, right? Another way to hedge against Ripple and XRP. But everybody that bought Ripple IPO looks like you're still secure, still good to go. And the Link2 CEO is going to be showing up at Vegas. So, that to me says everything I need to know. Unlike a lot of these cats that some issues happen, they're long gone. You don't see them anymore, right? They're gone. The fact that they're showing up in person in Vegas tells me that assets are secure and everything's going to be okay. You have to understand, too, that they're working with the new SEC. So under Gary Gensler's regime, under the previous administration, you might have had to worry a little bit more than we do now. Right now, the law is still the law. But if the new administration has given the word to the SEC and other agencies that we don't want to stifle innovation, we don't want to go after folks that are trying to do things the right way, and if there is some issues, how bad is it? Traffic violation. That's what Ripple did. Traffic violation. You pay a fine, you go. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. There wasn't clarity. They tried to get clarity, right? It wasn't. So it's a traffic violation. They broke the speed limit and there's no speed limit sign. That's what Ripple did. Not a big deal. And so Link 2 and some of the things that were accused of them, and we're still waiting for all that to be proven, by the way. Remember, it's very easy for folks to file and do things and say things, and the full-time fuzzsters wait for news like this to come out. Oh, everybody that invested in Link 2s, it's a scam. It's a scam. Well, let's see how this plays out before we jump to conclusions. And like I've always said, if there are issues, we're willing to talk about that. I'm willing to talk about that, yeah. But it looks like it's going to be good. Looks like they're going to come through. They're showing up to Vegas. That sounds good to me. You also have to understand, too, how these private markets work. Of course, they're making a market. Like, there is no public market. They're private equity. So you're creating private markets for trading this. Now, to the extent that anything could have happened, we'll see. But let's see what happens. Folks were way too quick to jump on that one, in my opinion. Why does the SEC case keep getting delayed? Well, so it's not getting delayed as in like the SEC is requesting more time. It's just the court process, right? And the process is taking longer than we would like, but it's not getting delayed. It's just they're crossing T's, dotting I's, and the official announcement's right around the corner. Like, we could see it tomorrow. We could see it next week. And think of how big of a splash, how big of a ripple this is going to make when one of the first actions that Paul Atkins does is settle up the SEC versus Ripple case. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you the final 8-minute warning. Okay. In 8 minutes, we will be at our 2-hour live show marker, and that's when I'm going to wrap up the live show, okay? So we got 4,000 folks with us between YouTube, X, and TikTok. I don't know how many orders have been placed, but if you want to access this XRP giveaway tonight, place an order for the XRP family merch while we're live tonight. You have 7 minutes left to go. And I'm going to wrap this one up. We're going to continue with rapid fire Q&A, but we're going to give away 50 XRP to 5 folks that purchase XRP family merch tonight. Okay? And you'll be reached out to tomorrow. We'll reach out to you tomorrow. Okay? He has 72 ETFs to approve as well. On the silver platter is the SEC versus Ripple case. Check that one. On the platter is 72 ETFs, including dozens for XRP spot. Yeah, we're going to be flipping some switches. And XRP's already moving. Lock in. Lock in. What time will I be on tomorrow? So I'll drop my regular morning update, and then I'm going to be recording the Zebek deep dive, and that'll drop at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Zebek deep dive is going to drop tomorrow. Now, last time I spoke about Zebek, the coin moved, and that's not my intention, but that's what happens. It's just a part of the game. Okay, this is a low cap. Zebek, the market cap of Zebek's small. So that's what happens, right? You know, if I say, hey guys, I bought a meme coin. The reason why I like to be careful when I do present this stuff is I like to be very clear. Hey, I bought this coin because it has momentum. It's hyped up right now, and I'm buying in, and I'm going to hit the exits here soon. And I was very clear when I bought Zebek. I said, guys, I'm moving in, but this is a swing trade, and I'm going to follow up with my research to see if it ends up being a long-term hold. Not here to trade it intraday. This isn't a day trade. This isn't a quick one. But if it does go up to targets, I mean, we're going to be forced to take our initial investment out. And then if it continues up to the higher targets that I have, I am going to be taking profit. And then my research on it tomorrow will determine, along with the follow-up down the road the rest of this year, will determine whether or not I want to hold it long-term. But I like to be transparent and honest with you guys. I don't do pump and dump. We don't do that at all over here. I stand against that completely. I think it's a shame that some influencers use their platform to do that. Chosen One Collecting, thank you. We got 5 minutes left for the XRP giveaway, okay? Chosen One Collecting, Collective, thank you for the 5 spot. Does Atkins have the power to end it himself? No, it has to have a commission vote. So the 5 commissioners have to vote on it. Can't tell if the switch is being held back on purpose for something big, such a roller coaster. Yeah, it feels like it, huh? Feels like it's purposely being held back. Yeah. Yeah, the payroll market is big. And that's what Zebek is going after. And I was surprised to see that they already have significant volume that they're using Zebek for with the payroll. Because you know the number one question that I always ask, who the hell is using the token? Well, they're actually moving, they're moving serious volume with Zebek for payroll solutions. Now, I want to pull this up real quick on Zebek, because this is interesting. How quickly it'll move. It's back below a 70 million market cap. It's at 69.5. 69 million market cap. I'm telling you, this thing, all it takes, if you got a few million of inflows into this coin, if you get 5-10 million inflows into this coin, you gotta trade. You gotta move. Or you can sit back and hold it too if you want to hold a portion as well. But it's not going to take much. And the thing that I tell you with these projects, guys, you want to look for projects that at least have enough of a narrative to sell the token, to sell the project, the ecosystem, and the blockchain that they're working on. Right now, whether or not they're going to succeed with their goals and their plans for adoption and whatever their aspirations are, that doesn't necessarily, determine whether or not it could have a short-term move, which would be a significant, or considerable profit, a great trade for you to make. So on some of these projects, I say, okay, they're checking off all the boxes and heading in the right direction. Will they actually end up achieving all of this? That's yet to be seen. But they have enough of a narrative behind the real utility, and they do have enough of adoption and traction that they can sell the story. That somebody like me can say, hey guys, I'm not just hyping this thing up. So-and-so's actually using this. Here's the amount of volume that's flowing. This is real. This isn't just hype. Real flows of liquidity and utility. And so that's what I look for on these projects, on these, whether it be kind of more of a low cap like Zebek, whether it be even a meme coin on the XRP ledger. I've been trading those too. My trading bag will move wherever it needs to go. I don't do Solana memes and I don't do ETH memes. The only memes I do trade are on the XRP ledger. And then on other coins like this, we just look to find and, ride the momentum. We see them go. Guys, we're coming up on 1 more minute to place your order. 1 more minute to place your order before we wrap up this live show. On the way out, guys, if you haven't already, please make sure you have liked this video. Make sure you have subscribed and hit that notification bell. We're going to be dropping an update tomorrow morning. We're going to be dropping the Zebek deep dive tomorrow evening. You don't want to miss it. Don't want to miss it. Yes. Yeah, we have heard of the channels. RJ, yes. I've spoke with some folks that talk about the prophecies with XRP. I've covered it. Brandon Biggs. Brandon Biggs. He also did some prophecies on XRP going to Crazy prices, right? Yeah. All right, we got our orders coming in still. I'm going to give everybody one last minute to enter the giveaway. Once again, where can I trade the XRP memes? David, I have it linked up and down below for First Ledger. That's a nice platform for trading the memes or any other tokens on the XRP ledger too. But I got First Ledger linked up down below. I also use X Magnetic. Okay. So guys, one last opportunity. We're going to be giving away 250 XRP total. We're going to have 5 lucky winners that will be receiving 50 XRP from me. And this is just the start. So you guys need to stay tuned. We're going to be doing more giveaways in the future here. This is why I set up this wallet. We're going to be having fun. We're going to be giving away merch. We're going to be giving away XRP. You know, I've got some cool ideas for some potential auctions with NFTs, some fun stuff that we might be able to do too. Going to be a lot of fun. Okay. All of my community resources are linked up down below and at zachrector.com. If you're looking to access our Discord, you sign up through Patreon to get in there. We just went through a little bit of a revamp, consolidation. We're getting our Discord ready for the inflow and for all the newcomers that are going to be coming in as we go through the rest of this bull market. More and more new people coming in. We want to speed up our process, make our process of onboarding and keeping folks around simpler, easier. And so we've made some changes to our Discord recently. Looking forward to packaging up all of our resources and content and making it easy, accessible for the new folks to get in, get folks caught up to speed. And then, as always, you know, we have conversations from other industry experts in there, other topics, other classes. And then we have our weekly calls every Saturday, our Discord weekly call in our Discord group as well. Okay, guys, this is it. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to pull all of our orders for tonight's live show, and we are going to create a giveaway. 5 lucky winners of 50 XRP for a total of 250 XRP tonight. Boy, we're going to be looking back and laughing when XRP goes up to those big numbers. We're going to be laughing. We're going to be having a good time. And we're going to be having a yacht party on your yacht. Because I'm not buying the yacht. We're going to be on your yacht, okay? Okay? I appreciate all of you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. We just got another one in. Shane, you snuck in there. Shane, you snuck in there at the end. There you go. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay? God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow, okay? New update, Zebek Deep Dive. You're not going to want to miss it. Okay? All right. God bless.